Two sides clearly see it very differently, so let's talk about it with our panel. Syndicated columnist George Will, A.B. Stoddard, associate editor of The Hill, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Welcome to all of you. Good to see you. All right, so we have another delay in signing up for Obamacare. Today was the drop-dead deadline. It was December 15th. That got changed to today. Then quietly, there's what they're calling a grace period. George, how do you think this is going to go over?
You used the word quietly, and that's exactly it. This is Obamacare now is a tapestry of coercions mitigated by random acts of presidential mercy, announced in the most bizarre ways. Months ago, when they announced the suspension of the employer mandate, it was a Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, of whom there are 12, posted it on the Treasury website. Then, when they, a few days ago, suspended the individual mandate for certain preferred people, that was announced in a letter from Secretary Sebelius to 6 Democratic senators, as though this was this law of the United States as their private property. This change today wasn't even announced. It was sort of discovered by the Washington Post. And it was made on the pretext that they're gearing up for an expected surge of traffic, which is kind of interesting because the one person we know who signed up today, the president, doesn't even get his health care from anything associated with Obamacare.
But we know he was successful with his bronze plan selection. We do have that confirmed.
Staff was successful.
Staff did it for him. You're exactly right. I mean, he wasn't even... We were told he was involved in picking out the plan, but not the actual signing up process, which for a lot of folks has been the most frustrating part of the whole deal so far.
He was there in spirit when they signed him up.
That counts, right? Bronze plan, it's official. But of course, AB, we have this problem of a lot of people who are going on the website. They think they're signing up, and there are still questions about whether those people, when January 1st hits, whether payments have been made, whether they're actually insured.
That's the big problem, is that even if people, there is a rush of traffic today, and they anticipate that there'll be similar traffic into tomorrow. I don't know how your December 23rd went, but I'm not going to have any more time tomorrow than I did today, and I had none. But someone is going to hang in if they didn't get on tonight, past the midnight deadline, and sign up on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve. That said, even with really good traffic, people who become enrollees are not necessarily insured people because the insurance companies have not necessarily been paid. They won't know that until January. Of course, the people who had their own self-insured policies who got canceled, many of them haven't signed up. They become officially uninsured in January. The administration is trying desperately with a PR campaign, encouraging happy hour talks and Pajama Boy and the president signing up. But I think what happens with rolling exemptions, extensions, waivers, delays, is it tells young people who they need in the system desperately that this is obviously going to go away, that there's just no way it'll still really be a real requirement so they can blow it off. And that's really the concern, obviously, with the whole system surviving.
Well, and Charles, the supporters will say the president and the administration, they're making changes. They need to, just as when you implement any massive new law and handling such a big part of the economy, that's what presidents do. They make laws workable. They tweak them. Have we crossed a line of tweaking, not twerking?
Well, this is at least the 15th unilateral change in Obamacare the administration has made without changing the actual law. That's unconstitutional. That's lawless. That's banana republic stuff. As George indicated, the last change was made by a letter from the HHS secretary. It's the way you do it in a banana republic. If you want to know what the law is on a Wednesday, you check the correspondence of Il Presidente instead of looking at the law. There is no law. It's as if the whole 2,000 pages of Obamacare, which nobody has read anyway, are completely irrelevant. It's simply an authorization for the president and the HHS secretary to do anything required. And today, it wasn't even announced. It was leaked. And the people in the administration who leaked it refused to give a name. It was anonymous. It was like Watergate. It was like Woodward and Bernstein. And the insurers, the people who have to sign up, the people who sign up tomorrow, were not even informed. It was a simple change in the software. The insurers are upset because they only have 8 days to register anybody who signed up today, and now it's 7 days. They have no time. But again, this is the administration's running the insurance companies like errand boys. They are extensions, they are instruments, they are essentially an arm of the government, and we're seeing it every day. In the end, if this fails, this arm of the government, the insurers, are going to have only one recourse, and that's going to be a bailout, a huge government bailout with your tax money and with mine.
And I know that you have a theory about what Republicans should do with that potential scenario and how they should use it in the upcoming negotiations over things like the debt ceiling.
You can see it coming. Everyone speaks about the death spiral, which is when insurers have enrollments that are too small and are very heavily weighted to the old and the sick, because the young and the healthy aren't enrolling. So if you're a private insurer in a real market economy, you go bankrupt. The administration isn't going to allow that. It's going to have to pump in tons of money as a way to keep the insurers alive and to keep Obamacare alive, which is why, since this is utterly inevitable, the GOP ought to make a stand today and declare they're not going to allow that, and put legislation out there which will have overwhelming support in the population.
Well, we know one of the things they're working on the House, George, is these Republicans who've gotten together to say that they want to institute a lawsuit against the executive branch because of all these arbitrary changes. It'll involve getting the speaker involved and getting it to the floor. Do you think they have a shot?
Well, I think they do. They have to assert standing, and I think they can claim an injury, which is they're paid and were elected to make the laws, and they now see that they've been a marginalized institution. That there used to be three steps to making a law. The Senate passed it, the House passed it, the President signed it. Now we have a fourth, which is bureaucrats, presidents, press spokesmen, just amend the law at whim. This is government by executive will, and it is anti-constitutional, if not technically yet unconstitutional.